So if we're talking about sacred theology, because that's the type of theology that Catholic theology is, it's sacred because it starts from divinely revealed truths, principles that are given to us by God himself. Sacred theology starts with God. And with the sacred truths that God reveals to us that we couldn't discover unless God revealed them to us. What are these sacred truths? These sacred truths are, in essence, the articles of the faith. For example, the things that we profess at Mass on Sunday in the Creed. I believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible, etc. All of these things God has revealed to us. And what sacred theology does is take these divinely revealed truths, which come directly from God, and holds them up before the human mind and says, what do these mean? What does it mean that God is one in being, and yet three in divine persons, the Trinity? How can this be? What does it mean that Jesus is the eternal Son of the Father, and yet he is truly man? He truly had a human nature. He truly shared in our humanity, that he was like us in all things but sin. What does this mean? And so sacred theology then begins with divinely revealed principles, divinely revealed truths, the articles of faith that God in his wisdom and in his love has shared with us that we couldn't have access to naturally. He's given them to us out of his largesse, his mercy, and his wisdom. That's the starting point of sacred theology. But the work of sacred theology is when we start with faith, receiving these principles, but then begin to understand what these principles, what these sacred truths mean. So if we had to offer a simple, concise definition of what sacred theology is, we would say it is faith-seeking understanding. It's receiving in faith those supernatural principles God has divinely revealed that we couldn't discover by our natural resources. We receive these precious supernatural principles, articles of faith, in faith. But the journey of sacred theology is not over. In fact, it's just beginning. Once we have these sacred, supernatural, divinely revealed truths, the human mind then begins to penetrate, to inquire, and to lovingly scrutinize, what does this mean? And the beautiful thing is that this journey of understanding the faith is not just possible, but it's necessary for human salvation. It's both possible and necessary. Why is it possible? The articles of faith, the sacred truths that God reveals to us, are not just knowable, but they are first known. How are they first known? It's because God knows the truths that he shares with us about himself and what he does in the reality that he has created. And because God knows what he does, who he is, and what he's about, when he shares these sacred truths about God himself, who and what he is and what he's about, we can think God's thoughts after him. Of course, no theologian in this life thinks that our understanding can ever arrive at the degree of comprehensiveness, the exhaustiveness, the totality of God's own divine knowledge. That's impossible for a created mind like mine or like yours. However, very important, because God first knows who he is and what he's about. What he shares in revelation about who he is and what he is about is knowable, because God first knows. And through the work of sacred theology, faith-seeking understanding, we can think God's thoughts after him.